So a report came out yesterday that the Pistons are pursuing another big man that could shoot. And they might be looking at a team like the Thunder and seeing, ooh, that Chet Holmgren with Hartenstein lineup is pretty interesting. And we might want to add a little bit more shooting to our front court and add another option at the front court because I'm sure they're happy with both Duran and Isaiah Stewart, but knowing that Beef Stew is liable to get tossed out and he could get hurt like he did in the playoffs, and knowing that neither of them are great scorers at the big man position. Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew can knock down an open three, but he's not an amazing three-point shooter. He's not a guy that's going to take tough threes. He's not a guy that you're going to give the ball to go to work. Same thing with Durant. He's more of a lob threat, put back type of guy, but not a guy that you're running offense through, at least at this point of his career. And so I think it makes some sense for the Pistons to be looking to go get a big man that could be more of a scoring option than they have right now. I think that for the Pistons, though, Myles Turner, you never know. But as this article says, reporting's coming out that the Pacers are willing to spend. And I just, at this point, I know Myles Turner has been in rumors for like his entire career. But I think at this point, they made the finals. I think he's such a huge part of that. If I'm the Pacers, he's the second most untouchable guy to Halliburton. I think him being their anchor defensively and a three-point shooter, they're making the finals with that. He's been a career Pacer. I think that there's just no shot that they can move on from him at this point. So I think that's a little bit of reaching. NAZ REID likely could be available. I mean, the Timberwolves are still paying Anthony Edwards. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a free agent this offseason. It's possible he'll be available. I would think that the Timberwolves, there's a good chance they'll do what it takes to bring back NAZ REID, just knowing that Gobert's older. Julius Randle could get traded. I think they might, if anything, make a path for him to start, maybe trade Julius Randle in like a Kevin Durant trade and have Ant-Man, KD, Nas, Gobert. I don't know. But I actually don't think either of these would be available, although I do think NAZ REID would be a good get for the Pistons. So I think NAZ REID is smart. I think both these are very smart guys for them to pursue. I just don't think either of them are super realistic. Could happen. Could definitely see NAZ REID as a Piston, and that would be a good move. But here's something interesting else that I thought of, that this is the agenda I'm pushing for the Bucks, and I also think it would be kind of interesting for the Pistons, and that's Domantas Sabonis. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the Kings are saying, you know what, we'll rebuild around Sabonis and, we'll figure this out. But I'm thinking with the way that the Kings have been looking, the way that they just traded Fox for picks and where Sabonis is at right now, I would think that they would be very open to moving him this offseason to get cheaper and to help them tank, because for all of Sabonis' flaws, with him on your team, you're probably not going to be one of the worst teams in the league because he just does too much stuff, especially in the regular season. And so I could see them moving off of him. And this is the one that is more clear for the Kings. You get a guy that was a top draft pick not too long ago, and that has some gifts, some talents, and has had some flashes. But honestly, for me, if I'm running the Pistons, I think I would do this just because I'm not a fan of Jaden Ivey's archetype. Guys that can't shoot, aren't very good decision makers / passers, and aren't elite defenders. I think you have guys like Benedict Mathurin for the Pacers, Benedict Mathurin. I think you have Kuminga for the Warriors. I think older versions of that would be like Kelly Oubre, Kyle Kuzma for the Bucks. And I just don't think that they're winning basketball players. And I'm not a Jaden Ivey guy. I could be wrong, but I've never really been a Jaden Ivey guy. Maybe it's given up on him in the wrong time, but I think that for a guy that does what Sabonis does, I think that this could be worth it. I know Sabonis has had his bad moments in the playoffs, but as I talked about on my Bucks channel, I think that stuff with Sabonis is a little bit unfair, just a little bit. Like I'm not super high on Sabonis, but like he's still a really stinking good player. He's just maybe not like the top 15 in the NBA guy that his numbers would suggest. But I think if you have a real top tier number one option and he's a clear number two, like a distant number two, I think that's still really solid. I think the problem is for the Kings, they haven't had any defense around him in previous years, and so defensively he gets exploited more so. Offensively, Fox is great, but he's not like a top 10 in the league player. And I think in addition, the big moments for the Warriors series, he was guarded by Draymond. Last year in the he was guarded by Anthony Davis with not even any Fox to help him out. And so I think if he was paired with Cade Cunningham and you have guys like Malik Beasley still on the wing shooting and spacing the floor, I think Sabonis could be a great connecting piece for them. He's not a go-to bucket getter, but I think you get enough from that from Cade, and he just does a good enough job, I think, maybe taking pressure off Cade and being like the secondary creator for them, even though he's not like an ISO scorer. I don't necessarily think they need that. And so I think that this would be interesting for them. Another way that you could go and get Sabonis would be a trade like this, but it seems like they want to add a third big. They don't want to get rid of one of their bigs. And it would be kind of crazy for, the identity of Detroit to get rid of Isaiah Stewart. It seems like too much of a match made in heaven. So I don't see this one being the move. I think it would be less. It would behoove the Kings much less to get Isaiah Stewart than to get Jaden Ivey. But it's a way to get the salaries done, and I still think it could be beneficial for the Pistons to take that next step. And so overall, my idea for the Pistons is go get an actual high-level guy. Sabonis, again, he might be a little overpaid, maybe a little overrated, maybe, but he's still definitely better than NAZ Reid and better than Myles Turner. Maybe not definitely better than Myles Turner, but he's more gettable, I think, than Myles Turner. And I think that with the Pistons, he would make sense. I think that also defensively, like the four, like look at the five that he was out there with for the Kings. It was, who did they have running the point? It was like Keon Ellis, DeMar DeRozan, Levine, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis. And so if you put him next to like a Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson, like the Pistons could go with Cade Cunningham, Malik Beasley, Ausar Thompson, to Sabonis and Jalen Duren. Maybe not the best shooting lineup, but Sabonis would just need to take more threes because he shot 42% from the three-point line last year. He just only took 2.5 a game. So then you just double that next year, say take 5 threes for us per game for the Pistons. Maybe you shoot 35, 36%, but with how Malik Beasley shoots, and with Cade Cunningham maybe taking another leap as a high-level three-point shooter, add more shooters off the bench if you're the Pistons, I think you'll be fine on that end. Maybe you'll lose a little bit of your defensive identity, but I think this could help you take that next step as a team and have a higher-level guy. So I think it'll be interesting for them to pursue as a bonus trade, but maybe I'm insane. Let me know what you all think. Drop a comment, hit that like, and subscribe if you want to do that.